Good afternoon. And sorry, I'm just poking around seeing if I can get the laptop to work so I can see if I'm going live. Hopefully I am. If anybody's watching, please say hello and let me know where you're from. Unless I know you already, in which case I probably do know where you're from. But not to worry. Happy Halloween if you celebrate such a thing. We've just had some more little ones at the door looking for their Halloween treats. That looks like that's Kay there. Okay, so what are we doing today? Today we are going to be making some alternatives using the kit that we used last week. I'm not very good at I don't know, I'm looking in the wrong direction. I'm so used to looking straight at the camera, but it's on the side now. Hi, Kay. Hi, Ellie. Okay, so that's enough about me. Let's crack on with what we're going to do. Oh, before I forget though, if you're interested in joining up and becoming a Stampin' Up demonstrator, today is the last day of the amazing 35-year offer. So that's 35% off the basic price. So you'd get £132 worth of goodies for 99p. Thank you. Just into the hairdressers. Sorry, back to 30. You get the £99. You get 35% off. So instead of paying £99 for £135 worth of £130 worth of goodies, you only pay £65. Or you can pay the £99 but get 35% extra, which works out £175 worth of goodies for your pennies. But it runs out today. So please, if you're interested, wherever you are, so long as it's the 31st of October and before about 10:30 at night, I would suggest get it in there, give it a go. Enough of that, let's switch around and get this kit going, shall we? That's better. You don't want to look at me. Hang on, see if I can get the phone in the camera holder. Ooh, it's a bit wonky today. I'm having technical issues. Nothing new there then, is there? Right, let's see if we can plug it back in so that we don't run out of juice while we're doing it. We get that over there, right down below. I'll put that light on and see if that helps. Now let's see if we can find you on there. Yep, all good. Okay, so this is the kit we used last week. It's called Christmas Everywhere Kit. And I love in the colours and the simplicity of the drawings and the stamps. But I know, as soon as I saw this, I knew there was lots more I could do with this. So I do apologise now if we have put our pumpkin outside. So we may be getting some little ones coming and knocking on the door. But Andrea's going to pop up and do those. Okay, so these are the goodies, the pieces that you get. It's all right. One of the kids have just tried to scare her by hiding behind the door, forgetting that we have a glass front door. Anyway, back to the kit. Loads of lovely bits and pieces in these gorgeous colour combination of granny apple green, real red, pretty peacock and Lost Lagoon. But what I was really interested in was the envelopes are all lined, which is always really useful. And these are the 3 card bases. Now, they're double-sided, I mean, they're white, but they're double printed. So there's a lot of things we can do with that. In fact, let's start straight away with our first alternative idea for this. I'm going to take the card base and fold it so that the white is on the outside. I'm going to grab my trusty bone holder. Oh, I've got sprinkles everywhere. Did you take a picture? I'm going to get it round that way so that the pattern is on the inside. And then I'm going to create a very simple fold back on there. So I now have a very simple Z fold card that has double fronted. So we could write on the back. But what I'm going to do to create my focal point, I'm going to take one of these panels that we would use on other projects, and I'm going to cut it in half. So I'm going to get out my trusty little mini guillotine, and we're just going to make it, what should we do, 5.5 centimetres or 6? Actually, how long are they? Let's start by finding that out. Okay, they're 12.5. So if we go 6.5 for this one, no, 6, I think would be good. So I've now got 2 places that I can create a focal point for. Ah, now that fits there beautifully. That's the slightly wider one. Now we are in the UK, I am in the UK, so I use centimetres, not inches. So I will be pulling this to pieces and making it into centimetres because that's how I work. But if you're in the US or you use inches, feel free to do it whatever way you like. I'm just going to trim this down so it's 6.5 by 7.5 now. Not sure what you can see actually. The only problem with having my camera around this way is I can't see where everything is. And what's the lighting like? That's not too bad. Okay, I'm going to move those out my way. I'm going to get rid of my envelope, bring my card back. So, now, this needs a pop of colour. Now, do I use a bit of Granny Apple Green and create a mat using one of the card bases? Or do I use the... No, I quite like the Granny Apple Green. I think I'm going to stick with Granny Apple Green and red. So I'm going to cut myself a piece off of this card base. That is going to be 7.5. Oh dear, we had a wonky there. But we're not going to waste this. We're going to make another card with that in a minute. 7.5 by, was that panel 8.5? Yeah, 8.5. So that gives us a nice sturdy piece with a good border all the way around it there to put in the centre of our card. Now, what are we going to stamp onto here? Let's have a look at these stamps. What have we got in here? We could put some more trees and we could put our sentiment there. So for this card, I'm aiming to not use anything except what's in the kit. So I'm going to place that stamp over there. And where am I going to put my sentiment? I'm going to put my sentiment down the bottom. So let's just lay this out. All I'm doing is I've got my panel, my focal point panel. Oh, my fingers have gone all to jelly. I'm going to put Merry Christmas. So I'm going to put my Merry Christmas that way round. So I need to get some trees in here. So if I use the triangle and maybe this one. Does that look good? I think that will work. I'm not going to stamp them all at the same time. I'm just placing them. So let's put my panel down there. Let's bring in the ink pad. And we're going to ink up. So I ink by the kissing technique. Hi Fiona! Which is gently tapping side together like that. Because that way I find I don't use too much ink. Now I have got my trusty foam backing here. And I'm just going to lay that tree down there. 1, 2, 3. And up she comes. Actually, do you know what? I think I might go for another one there. Let's try that. Let's give them tap, 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 tap. And we'll go for another one, slightly down. 1, 2, 3. There. Oh, I wonder what that would look like over the top of that green piece. I think we'll find out. Oh, that won't get any ink on anything. We need to use the ink pad part, Cary. Watch what you're doing, woman. Now, let's see if I can line this up over that piece. 1, 2, 3. So now it's gone from being a plain green triangle with a triangle on the outside and a dirty mark on it. Come off, thank you. So let's take the tree and give it a quick wipe. I am using baby wipes for today just for speed, because my usual handy dandy chamois, simply chamois, needs wetting, and I forgot to do it before I came on live. So let's work out where the sentiment's going to go. The sentiment's going to go there, but I think I'd quite like to change the ink colour, and because this is an extension of the kit, I'm going to break my own rules and not use the same colour. Again, excuse my arms, I'm just trying to find the Granny Apple green ink pad. It's done a little runner on me. Oh, now everything's falling over. Granny Apple. Let's do our sentiment. I don't normally do sentiments in green. I'm not a fan of stamping in green. I think it's rude. But for this occasion, I'm going to go with it. Tap, tap, tap. And then put my sentiment down here. 1, 2, 3. This is the wonderful thing about clear stamps and clear blocks. You can see where they're going to go. So there we have our card. So, well, the start of our card. We're not going to say it's the whole card. First things I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little bit of glue and attach this. No, I've changed my mind. I know what I was going to do. I'm going to take my glue dots, these are 3D foam. These are what we call stamping dimensionals. I'm going to use 5 of them. I'm being very generous today. And take the backings off. Now these backings didn't like my Sharpie marker, my Sharpie highlighter. So I'll have to go over them again with an alcohol marker, but that's okay. So we now have a focal point, which we're going to attach there. So I'm only going to add glue to this edge of the panel. And then I'm going to lay that next to where I want it to go. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue like that to follow that line. And then I can put a squishy bit there. And that can be lined up. Now I'm using my grid paper as always to endeavour to keep myself straight. Doesn't always work, but hopefully it will this time. Double check that I have no glue showing on the back, because that's just rubbish if you get the glue showing on the back. And then I'm going to take this piece, and this piece is going to sit in there using that piece that we cut off. So I'm going to make this panel fit this panel. I'm going to take out this green and I'm going to bring in the other stamp, which I've now lost the lid, lost my lid. And I'm going to take off the Merry Christmas words, give them a wipe and pop them back over there. I'm going to use this tree again, and I'm going to go back to, I'm going to bring the Lost Lagoon ink pad back in, and I'm going to stamp it up again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there you go. Bring back my soft panel. Why do I use the foam mouse mat type material underneath? Because when you have a red rubber stamp on a wooden block, it has a layer of foam that gives it the squishiness that you need. obviously with these stamps you don't have that squishiness. Now my standard way to do things is to use my grid paper, but my grid paper is running thin. I'm down to the last few pieces, so I'm going to have to get a new one. But in the meantime, I'll use my pad. So let's measure this piece of paper, 5.5 by 7.5. So we know we want that to be 7 in height. And we know we want it to be 5 across. Now I'm going to trim some off of the tree side because I want to get as much on this side as possible, because I'm going to stamp another sentiment there. Just double check. Yep, 5 centimeters. Double check that. And I'm going to grab this sentiment. This set has the little snowflake, so I'm going to grab my own little block for this because it's easier. And I'm going to add some more Granny Apple Green snowflakes because I like working in threes, as most people who know me would tell you. So let's clean that off. But I'm going to use the Lost Lagoon for my sentiment, and my sentiment for the middle is going to be Warm Wishes. So I've just lobbed them back on there. I will, of course, in good time put them all back together neatly following the printed pattern. So I'm going to have Warm and Wishes. Where am I going to place those? Now I have cut off some little pieces here. Aren't they wide enough to put those on? Just about. Let's see if we can do that. I'm only using the scrappy bits. I've added some extra ink, but I haven't added any other cardstock or anything. So let's see if I can make this work. This is tap, tap, tap. Oh, use your fingers. There we go. Oh, there goes the front door again. Camera. And we're just going to see if I can get that to stamp onto that little piece of paper. Yes, I can, which allows me to create something that goes across there. So I'm going to take off the Warm and replace that with the Wishes. And ink it up. And go for the other end of this strip because I'm going to cut it up in a moment. I can get it on there neatly. That will be handy. Are you all done with your Christmas crafting now, or are you all still paddling away trying to make more? I know some of you lovely ladies make lots and lots, and gentlemen, make lots and lots of Christmas cards. So I'm just going to cut this at a jaunty angle because that means I don't have to worry about it having straight edges. And I'm going to go a bit closer for that one. And that can go like that. We can make it a little bit wonky. We can make it straight. The choices are ours. So I'm going to make this flat. Pop those off of there for a moment. Just to add some glue on the back of here. Position that on the other piece of the card base that we cut out. And using that to get ourselves a nice mat. So, sentiment, Warm Wishes. Now I am going to trim that so that that has a cut edge as well, and this one. This is a bit fiddly, but which way round am I going? I've got to cut that way. So I'm working backhanded, but it'll be okay. Warm wishes. Do we like that? I've started, still have more to make. Yeah, I kind of get that. I end up with more to make all the time. But then I never remember to post them. So I am a dreadful card maker who doesn't really send out her cards often enough as she should. So we have our sentiment for the centre. I'm just going to share with you. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. This is our pumpkin on the doorstep. Doesn't it look good? Really rather proud of that, because we're not pumpkin carvers by any means or of the stretch of the imagination. But there we go. There we have our sentiment on the centre panel. But I am going to go back in and put some more. It was cute, wasn't it? I'm going to put some more snowflakes on here. Just because I wanted to. And I might even put in some, no, 2, 4. I've got 5. I can't put any more. Okay, so now let me close this ink pad up and I will share with you one of my top tips for getting things to line up behind panels. I'm going to line that up on the back of there. Then when I open it, it should be in roughly the right place. But because I haven't stuck it down, I have a little bit of squidgy room. So let's put some glue on it this time. We're going to line it up. We know it's roughly that size. Close it up. Don't press it down because that gives you the squidgy room so that you can go in there and make sure it's straight. And then once it is, there you have it. A very simple, quick Z fold using the card bases from the Christmas Everywhere kit. That was just using what's in the kit plus the addition of one separate ink pad. But even this was offcuts from the panel. So, what other things can we do? Well, we cut that panel that we used off of that card base. So we're not going to let that go to waste. We've got to use it. It's too pretty not to. So what am I going to do with it? Well, I'm going to bring in an envelope. And I'm going to cut my envelope up. This is one of the envelopes that goes with this kit. My way of dealing with these is to very carefully trim off the seam along both sides. That was a very loud knock at the door. Just on the edges there. And now I have this whole panel to use. But I'm going to cut on the fold that's there so that I know I've got a nice straight piece. And then I'm going to cut again on the other panel side. I'm not going to throw these pieces away because I can use them from another project, but I am left with this piece. Now I will need, look at that, isn't that nice? I need to cut this to marry up to there. Now, because this is not our normal size cards, what I'm going to do is pop it in there, and then I'm just going to draw with my pencil around the edges. So I know that I now have to cut those lines. Using a guillotine makes it very easy. If you're doing it by measuring, well, that's your choice. But I like simples and quick. So we now have this lovely piece of pattern paper that was once an envelope that we can use on the front of that card. So let's tape or glue it down. So I'm going to glue this edge because I know I want that edge to be tucked inside. And then I'm going to glue on the card base the small panel edge, cut edge, and I fit in the middle like that. Then let's marry them up so they're nice and neatly just, I don't know if you can see online, but there is a faint score line there, and I'm going to sit that just inside and then go over. Now that is my card base. So I've used 2 cards bases to make 2 different cards. So what are we going to use? I'm going to bring in, what do we think? Which colour? Shall we, actually, you guys, I'm feeling like you're getting up to the door tonight. Yes, it keeps pinging here too. But as soon as the sweets are all gone, I'll bring the pumpkin in, and then they'll stop, because kids around here are quite well trained. They only knock if there's a pumpkin outside or decorations outside, and we only have a pumpkin. Okay, back to the cards. Do I pick a Granny Apple Green, a Real Red, or a Pretty Peacock label to stamp my sentiment on? In fact, let's just pull one of each out so that we can actually see what they're going to look like. Oh, we could go crazy and use all 3. Now that would be something, wouldn't it? Ah. How about that? We could make it like that. Oh, I quite like that. What do you guys think of that layout? Do you think that's working? All 3. I like it, thank you. What are we going to put on them? Well, I think we're going to put Warmest Christmas Wishes, or Warm Christmas Wishes. There we go. How about that? Warm Christmas Wishes. And then we might have to bring in some of the trees we could use. How about some of the fun palm trees? That's what they are. I was getting there. We can have one up there. We could have a cactus down here. Warm Christmas Wishes. I like that. So, let's get our... Do I want to use Lush Lagoon ink, or do I want to go for Pretty Peacock ink? I think Pretty Peacock ink. Yeah, I think I'm going mad, but I'm doing it with you, so it's all good. So let's take those off there, pop that to one side, and sort out our sentiments. So we're going to have warm with the red, very appropriate. Now today, so far, we have had no rain, but boy have we had a lot lately. Warm. 1, 2, 3. Clean it off. Put it to one side. Christmas. Line up using grid paper. Pick up the sentiment. Ink up. 1, 2, 3. I don't know why I use 3. I think it goes back to me being obsessed with odd numbers. 1, 2, 3. Christmas. And finally, let's get the wishes done. One, two, three. Warm winter, warm Christmas wishes. I'm going to put the lid on that because I Don't fancy putting my elbow in that one. And clean that off there. I think that's going to look rather cool. We're going to tie in everything. Oh, now. Now, do we go for jumbled up or straight? Come on. Somebody tell me what to do. Straight. Straight or jaunty angles? Any ideas? Hi Debs, how are you, my lovely? I know I'm going to need me 3D foam because I'm going. Oh, I need to put all these sentiments back on the block so I don't lose them. I'm going to put the sentiments up on 3D foam, so whichever way we go, they're going to have 2 3D foams on them each. On each end, that's all they need because they are cardstock. They're not fine paper, and we don't want to. Don't answer the door. But I've put a pumpkin out, Mum. Of course I'm going to answer the door, and I've got a big bag of sweets to get rid of, so it's fine. Okay. Warm Christmas wishes. Now, Andrea has said to go straight. Do we want stepped or in a straight line? Stepped or straight? What do we think, guys? Twiddling my thumbs here, thinking about it. I think I'm going to go, quite like it, straightly offset. Slightly offset. Do I like that better than I like straight? Actually, no, I don't. I think I like the straight. I'm a very indecisive crafter today. I'm going to go with straight. So let's put the middle one down. Having a good relaxing tea time. Oh, Fiona said stepped. So let's go. Fiona has spoken. So I'm going to go stepped. So I'm going to start with that one over there, that one there, only a little bit stepped. Ethan, you can have one. Pardon? You can have one. One. Okay. 1, 2. Sorry about that, guys. That's my son coming down for snacks, and I'm going to stick the cactus and the palm tree, which are beautifully decorated in red glittery baubles and pot, onto the card base. Now, there, that's a little bit different to what we had before, isn't it? Okay, now I have these 2 thin strips. Now, I do not like to waste any of this stuff. And what I would like to do is to put one of those down the inside of my card, because that finishes that nicely, in my opinion, on the inside. So let's do that. Now we are going to use the liquid glue again because of its smushability, its ability to be not immediately stuck down. So I'm going to line up my card using my grid paper. Herbie and I need to go from the shed, but it's hammering down, so we're watching. Oh, bless you. Herbie is Fiona's wonderful little doggy, and they work at the bottom of the garden in her shed, which is fun. Makes working from home a lot easier, I think, but they're getting very wet by the sound of it. So I've put that in there. Now, I have a funny feeling that this card won't fit into my UK sized envelope. Oh, but it does. Look at that, it just fits. So, seeing as how I've used an envelope to create this card, I'm going to use the rest of the envelope to decorate the envelope that goes with it. So, I'm just going to use that little red strip, lining up my grid paper again, taking it across the front. Now, I would highly recommend using liquid glue or for this, because you do not want to add anything that's going to cause any chaos to the post service. Trim that off there. I'm now going to put the lid on the glue, and I'm going to stamp on my envelope. I'm going to make a little forest in this bottom right corner of my envelope, and I'm going to use this tree and this tree because I haven't used them yet. So I'm going to use the Lost Lagoon, and I'm going to use the Pretty Peacock. So I'm going to use the Lost Lagoon for this one, because this is going to be in what I would consider the background. So I'm just going to place one there. I'm going to go and do a second generation there. Oh, can I get a third? No, not really, but that's okay. And I'm then going to take this glue, this stamp, and I'm going to ink it up with my Lost Lagoon. Not Lost Lagoon at all, it's Pretty Peacock. Hi Mandy! And there we go. We're going to have 1, 2, and one more in the Pretty Peacock. Just there. So we've now made 2 cards and 1 envelope from 2 cards and 1 envelope. How clever am I? So there's my card and envelope. We have some decoration on. Oh, should we put a tree on the inside? No, I'm not going to decorate it anymore. So that's 2 cards. I'm going to make 1 more super quick because I've been on here long enough. You don't need to hear me chatting away for too long. So what am I going to do now? I have got the Lost Lagoon card base. What can I do with this? Now, I wonder if I can make an easel card with this. But I want it to go like that. Oh. What else do I need? I need that other piece of the envelope that we cut up. I'm going to put that inside my card. Okay, so let's make an easel, very quick easel card. What am I going to do? First of all, I'm going to take the card base. I'm going to turn it inside out. I'm going to score it. And then I'm going to fold this back to the centre line. So it looks like I'm making a Z fold, but I'm not quite, because my fold is going to go that way. And that white on there looks very dull and boring. Good afternoon, Becky, Carmela. Sorry if I haven't caught up with everybody's chatting, but I've been busy trying to work things out for myself. So I'm going to make that now. Let me measure this. So this in the European metric system measures 14. So I need to cut this panel to fit at 13 or 13.5 centimetres. So the best way to do that is to first of all trim off that little bit there, because that's a bit wonky. Don't want that. Don't worry about this, we're going to cut that off in a second. we want this to be 13 and a half, I said, didn't I? So, and it actually measures 14 and a half, so I'm going to take 3/4 of a centimetre off of each side. So that's going there, and then I'm going to pull that down to 13 and a half the other way. I've trimmed that one, turn it over and trim this one. Oh, it's so hard, this math business, isn't it? So I now have that, and I need this to be, how wide is this panel? Oh, hard for space. And that is going to be 5 and a half, so I need it to be 5 centimetres. So I'm going to trim off a little bit because that corner caught. And then I'm going to turn it over so I can move that across to the 5 and a half. 5 side, not 5 and a half. 5. Just check that's right. Yep. Cut that off of there. So now I have. Now can you see where I cut on my scoreboard? On my trimmer there, I have a slightly burred edge. You're having a good, relaxing tea time watching. Oh, I am pleased. It beats washing up. To counteract that burred edge, I've just used my trusty bone folder. And I'm going to put that panel on there. And again, I'm going to grab my bone folder and smooth out some of those edges, because they look a bit wonky there. So, ooh, getting a bit warm now. Must be all this hard work I'm doing. Right, let's put some glue on here. And we're just going to pop that onto that panel there. Okay, we have got an easel fold. How are we going to decorate it? Well, first thing we need is some trees. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to trim the length off of there because I'm going to use one of these. I can, because that will create my stopper. And I'm going to stamp my sentiment on there. What words have we got? Merry, happy, warm wishes, happy Christmas. Let's try happy Christmas. I haven't said that yet. Let's get my happy Christmas out. What am I going to use? Happy. Let it relax. Line up my there. Hope you can see all of this. And we're going to use the pumpkin again. Ooh, there was a stamp stuck to the back of that. It's not pumpkin at all. I'm pumpkin crazy today. It's Pretty Peacock. So we're going to tap, tap, tap to get the ink on. And we're going to put happy carefully on there. Give it a clean. And we're going to go back for Christmas. So let me just line this up again and check that. Yes, that's going to work. Tap, tap, tap. And line it up. So it says Happy Christmas. 1, 2, 3. We have a sentiment. Now we just need to place that there. But I quite like the idea of having a bit of red under there. So I'm going to take one of these strips that we cut off. I'm going to snip the edges. I think that's going to go under there. Okay, so we're going to put this sentiment up on 3D. We only need to use 2 dimensionals. then I'm going to place my little banner. I'm going to gently push that down so that my banner is lower than my sentiment, just to give it a little bit extra something. So let's put some glue on that banner so that we know that that's going to stick down. Now, I always go off to the right. I suspect it's because my eye is always pulled that way. But we could do it in the centre. Now, shall we go crazy and do it in the centre? Why not? Line it up on the grid paper again. Get it roughly in the centre and down. There we have our easel card. Hopefully you can see that. Now, what you can also probably see is there's two seams on this piece of paper that really aren't the most attractive. But what we can do is we can take another one of these and we can make ourselves some trees. I'm going to use this stamp again and put it down, and I'm going to lay it on top, put the ink on, and I'm going to use Granny Apple Green, tone on tone. I love tone on tone. I think it makes everything quite sophisticated. Okay, well, not that my cards are sophisticated, but I'm making the most of what I have. So I'm going to stick that on top. 1, 2, 3. And now I have a stronger, bolder looking tree. And again with that one. Sorry. 1, 2, 3. And I am going to actually stop there because I'm going to use one of the die cuts as well. So let's have a look at what die cuts we have. Oh, we have these two, and we have another pack. Oh, look at these. What do we like that one? I quite like these ones. I think they work. Yeah, let's have these ones. Now, this little plan of mine does involve some fussy cutting. I do apologise for those of you who don't like it, but sometimes it needs to be done. So please bear with me as I fussy cut out the trees. I am going to give them a little white border. Now, this is what I call shadow cutting, and that is where I cut close to the line, but not onto the line. So I'm following the guide and just going outside of it. It gives it a little space, but it's really handy when you have something small that you're trying to cut, like the little tree trunks on this stamped image. So let's go round and up and across. Slightly curved that one. So that wasn't too painful now, was it? Now we've got 3 trees here. We need a 5th one, don't we? Or a 5th image to go, because we can't have equal numbers. So and I'm going to just rough cut that out the side there so that I can come back in a moment. And round at the top. Let's go back to this bottom piece. Just get that rounded out. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 1, 2, and we need a 3rd image for the middle. What are we going to use? Well, we could use the big red one, And I think I might just do that, because that then takes your eyes away from the seams and allows us to have a very pretty image. Now I'm just moving those bits out my way, because I'm going to place some of these down flat and some I'm going to go 3D. So I'm going to grab my glue, going to work out my layout. I'm going to have one. Do we like them behind? I like them behind better. So I'm going to place that one there. Oh, that needs a little rounding out on the top of there, doesn't it? It's a bit pointy. Always remember, turn the paper, not the scissors, when you're doing this. Someone answered the doorbell. Yeah, the doorbell just keeps going. The sweets will run out and then the pumpkin can come in. Although we did have a lot of fun carving the pumpkin today. I must admit, it was fun. It's not something we do a lot of, but you know, you just have to sometimes, don't you? Have to be a big kid. So there we go. And I'm going to replicate that on the other side. So that's going to go about there. Now, if you have ribbons and gems and things at home, of course you can add them to these kits. But I've been trying to make some alternatives without adding in too much stuff. So I'm nearly at an hour time, so I really should be stopping soon. So I'm just going to finish this card off and we'll be done. Put the lid on my glue and grab the 3D foam. I'm going to 3D this one up, one in the middle, two on the side. There we go. 2, 3. And we're going to put that like that. Now I've just checked that I haven't put anything too near the top, because that is going to go over the top piece. In fact, I'm going to put that in place once I've put that on the card like that. And there you have it. A really simple, easy to do, but fun fold using the Christmas Everywhere card kit components. So we've made an envelope, we've made a card, we've made two fun folds, we've done a simple Z fold, we've done a simple easel, and we've used the envelope to create a panel for our card. So that's all from me for this week. Hope you've had a nice time. I hope you have, if you're celebrating Halloween in whatever form you like, have a lovely time. If you are busy, take a breath, enjoy a cup of tea. Ah, oh, hi Lizzie. Better late than never, my love. If I can interest you in any of these products, we do have them for sale in our online shop. Please go onto our Facebook page and click the link if you're in the UK, Austria, Germany, France, the Netherlands, Belgium, or the Republic of Ireland. So if you're in North America or the South Pacific, just Google Stampin' Up demonstrator near me. Anyway, take care, my lovelies. Have a good time. Thank you for joining me. Bye bye.